to call this meeting to order. This is the City of Southfield regular meeting of the Planning Commission, August 28th, 2024. Can we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Bernuti,
Present.
Commissioner Goodwin-Dye,
Present.
Commissioner Griffiths,
Here.
Commissioner Gruber,
Here.
Commissioner Martin,
Here.
Dr. Stevens-Gunn, Commissioner Willis. Here. Mr. Chair, we do have a quorum to conduct business.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve the agenda.
To the chair. Yes. Motion to approve the August 28th, 2024 Planning Commission agenda is provided.
Support.
Got a favorable motion by Commissioner Martin, supported by Commissioner Goodwin-Dye. All in favor? Aye. All right, the agenda is approved. Announcements and communications today?
None at this time.
Moving right on to the first set of items for 22575 and 22599 Telegraph Road.
Yes, sir. So here we have a proposed conditional rezoning, special land use, and site plan review. They want to conditionally rezone the parcel to B3 general business to allow the construction of a new gas station and convenience store, as well as alcohol sales and add a drive-through carry-out restaurant. Their hours of operation, they propose are 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The total employees on the max shift is 2 people, and then additional staff for the restaurant, which is to be determined still. As we stated previously this month, we have general business across the street, and then office service to the rear of the property, and then nearby single family adjacent. Future land use, it's in the Southfield Technology Corridor. Gas stations are allowed in that as a accessory use. Just listing the permitted land uses and special land uses in the I-1 district. And then here we have the permitted uses in the B3 and the special land uses allowed in the B3. We've highlighted what they plan to do in green, which is the retail store, gas station, and then the restaurant with drive-through with bar or lounge. Because it's conditional rezoning, they are excluding open-air display and sales of motorhomes, motels, alternative financial services and pawn shops, smoking lounges, homeless shelters and soup kitchens, sexually oriented businesses, cabarets, medical marijuana provisioning centers, as well as adult use marijuana retailers. Because they're wanting the alcohol sales, we put the nearby liquor stores. There is one right across the street, which is Hayes Market Liquor. And then to the north near 10 Mile Road and Telegraph, we have Treasure Island Liquor, and then the Marathon gas station, which also sells beer, wine, and liquor. Site aerial. To the south is I believe it was the old Huntington Bank, and then the gas station is a smaller parcel. They plan on combining them and then demolishing both buildings. Current conditions, and then as you see the site plan, the drive-through is up on the west side, up in the corner, and then the pumps down here. Here is the first floor plan. Typical sales floor with the kitchen along the wall with the drive-through. Here's the drive-through window, and then we have the storage area. Here's the second floor plan with a small storage area and office. And then the landscape plan. elevations. And then rendering of what it should look like when they're all done. I'll invite the petitioner up for any questions the commissioners have.
Yeah, if the petitioner's here, please give us your name and address for the record. Tell us a little bit more about the project, if you have anything.
Good evening, Planning Commission members. I'm Brian Biskiner from the Elmore Group, engineer. This is the owner, Ned, sorry, and Stacy from Elmore Group as well, Wixom, Michigan. He did a great job. I think his review of the project was spot on, and we're here to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay. This is a public hearing, so I'm going to open up the public hearing at this time. Stay close by here, and if we have any members of the public that would like to speak on this item, please come forward. This is a public hearing. Okay. Please give us your name and address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Hello everyone, my name is Gulal Radi. I'm the current business owner of the gas station that is operating at 22599 Telegraph Road. So I've been there for almost 10 years during that time. So let me start by saying, as a resident healthcare director and a business owner of Southfield for over a decade, my views on this particular proposal are unbearable for its residential surroundings. It will raise serious concern, questions about the community safety, youth responsible conduct, and lowering the standard of our kids' youth growth by exposing them to enough toxic drinks in the area. This community can't endure another liquor store in the area with high-end drinking problems, traffic death, and many other problems related to the party store 1 block from the proposed zoning address. And those problems such as loitering, gang gathering, and much more that we are already dealing with. So having a liquor store in this demographic will be an eye-opening to our kids' healthy minds. At the same time, it would significantly make it convenient for the next door school, which is Bradford Academy, which is positioned a few blocks from the suggested proposal. So what I will say from a residential and business point of view, this proposal will pose a threat to all neighborhoods surrounding an escalation to the city of Southfield residential safety in various of ways that will ultimately have an impact on community youth and ethical behaviors. So one of the points that I would like to emphasize to our city legislator right here is this project will broaden and elevate the current safety problems surrounding the zoning project. And I say all that because there's a difference between intellectually understanding the outcome of this proposal and visually experiencing the impact that it has on its surrounding community. So it's a threat that will continue to pervade and permeate city safety protocols in the demographic area by allowing this proposal to jeopardize our community safety and our youth mindset. So having this proposal exerted in this area is also, in my view, a step in the wrong direction of the city core fundamental value of the community. Safety and educated young people being surrounded by stranded drinkers in the high traffic Telegraph intersection. So what I would say is we must focus on the long-term impact of this proposal, not just on the community safety, but also on the city young people's overall. So thank you so much for your hearing.
Thank you.
Through the chair, before you leave, sir. Sir, thank you for your comments. I'm sorry, I didn't get what business you represent.
Well, I'm currently the current tenants at that station.
You're in that gas station?
Correct. For over 10 years now.
So you're leasing the gas station?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other members of the public wish to speak? And this is just the conditional rezoning aspects of this project at this time. Seeing none, close the public hearing. So open up to the commission for questions and comments. Petitioners, could you please return to the podium? Dr. Stevens-Gunn, do you want to kick this off?
Yes, unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend the previous meeting where it was discussed, I'm sure in great detail, but could you please give me some background on the 24-hour operation and the staffing for that?
The owner would like to take a moment too to speak about the.
The person was here earlier, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, members.
Just speak into the microphone.
Okay, the person was here earlier, mentioning about the being tenant there. He's been there for a few years. He have no lease, and we notified him that we are gonna do this, you know, and we gave him plenty of time. We can give him a little extra time, but you know, he's a tenant, period, nothing else. So just for your information only. They have no lease, nothing else.
Back to my question.
The question about 24 hours, go ahead.
Yeah, the convenience store will be open 24 hours, gas and convenience, and the drive-through coffee shop or whatever tenant takes that over will cease operations at 9 o'clock, I think, right?
Correct.
That we talked about that. And so then it would just be your typical 24-hour convenience store with gas.
Thank you.
Commissioner Martin?
Initially, I believe it was stated that the restaurant would serve liquor, is that correct?
No,
Okay.
it's just a drive-through coffee donut, could be, yeah. Unknown tenant, yeah, but nothing like that, no.
So, let me understand, the current bank is being torn down, all the services will be, the retail store and the restaurant will be in one building,
Yes,
okay? You're not selling liquor at the restaurant, okay? Will the restaurant be sit down or just carry out, or?
no tables, no chairs. There'll be like a cooler or over-the-counter service. There'll be no tables, chairs, or anything like that in a one-window drive-through.
But
So you
there
could go
will
up,
be-
get a sandwich, but you can't sit there and eat it. You would get back in your car and leave.
Okay, so it's walk up for the
Yeah.
counter service.
Carry out, just a carry
Okay.
out.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Perfect.
That's
Ned,
the right word to
carry on.
use.
Okay. With the liquor store across the street, have you communicated with them about the competing business?
We own it.
So you own you own the liquor store and you're one that put liquor in the gas station? Okay, I see. All right, thank you.
For 35 years.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Willis?
I have no questions, thank you.
Commissioner Gerber?
I have no questions. I'm just trying to get some clarification. So the gentleman that spoke, he leases from you the gas station now?
And a month to month, yes, no lease.
Okay, so are you going, once you finish this project, are you going to lease the gas station again, or are you going to run it?
No, ma'am, we're gonna build it and run it.
Okay.
Commissioner Bertnucci?
Oh, thank you. How many employees will you need when this is completed, if this is approved?
2.
And the security, will you need additional security with having the liquor?
I can't imagine, as in security staff, like people? No, there won't be any security staff.
No, I meant
There'll be cameras.
cameras
Oh,
or-
yeah, oh, yeah, for sure.
So you will have additional protection for,
Yes, absolutely.
thank you, thank you.
Dr. Seuss?
Again, I'm concerned about the staffing. You said 2. So you're going to have one person run the convenience store and one person run the drive-through. Is that, or and then one person serving snacks at the inside? I'm not understanding how 2 people are going to do all of that.
There's going to be 2 general staff, his office or his, it'll be family run. They'll be upstairs in the office. So there'll be people there to fill in at different times during different rushes. The drive-through is just meant to be one staff member, but there is planning for 2, if it could be 3. But there'll be 2 general staff and then Ned and/or his family or whatever will be there as well.
But we will have some cashiers too, of course. There will be a cashier, 2 cashiers, whatever. So basically, at night, we'll have 2 people only, but in the morning, until 9 o'clock, there will be 4 or 5 morning.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, you got the convenience store, you got the gas station, you got the drive-through. I mean, 2 people?
No, the mention was at night.
Okay,
At night only.
okay.
Right. But
Okay.
regular days, usually in the days, no. We'll have 5 or 6 people, 100%.
Okay, is that reflected in the proposal?
Yes, it is.
They had said, let me get to the data sheet. I have it blank right now, but
Can you remind us how many square feet the total building is, and maybe how many square feet for the store part and the restaurant part?
Mr. Griffin, the restaurant part will be part of the whole entire sales area.
Yeah, total
Alex,
square footage, and
can you go
then
back
the
to the floor
restaurant's
plan?
a smaller part, obviously.
Right, Mr. Chairman, we'll have the walk-in coolers.
Go, there we go.
Okay. 6,600 square feet
Right.
of total building, and then the restaurant's about 800 square
And
foot.
then
of-
800 for the carryout,
600.
yeah. That sounds
Thank you.
Okay, I'm looking at this document, and this document does not reflect what you just said. So either make modifications to this document or something, because that's not what you just said.
What is it? I'm sorry.
additional employees.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's proposed for 2
At night.
at night.
That's not what this said.
Just said 5 or 6 during the day.
During the day, yeah, we have to have
So
people,
so that'll,
you know,
yeah.
cashiers and staffing and coolers and stuff, so regular operation, but at night only 2.
The point being is that if you have 4 or 5 employees during the day and 2 at night, you have 4 employees during the day, you need to specify those hours, and 2 employees at night, you need to specify those hours. We can't guess how many people you're gonna have this time of day or that time of day. You have to tell us.
Okay.
So if you're gonna have 4 people during the day, that's what we need to know, because right now, it says you're having 2 people for the whole place all the 24 hours. You see?
Night.
You understand? But
That's what this said.
that's what it says.
That's what you said.
Our judgment on.
If I could, and I know the chair, we're discussing the merits of the conditional rezoning first. Then under the special land use, it's appropriate to
actual
talk
gas
about
station.
hours
Okay.
of operation, staffing, and some of these other things. So I would ask that, because if you don't, we need to act on the conditional rezoning first, and then we can get into the details of the hours and the site plan.
So the bank is going away, the small gas station goes away. There's the large parcel, it's on Telegraph Road where everything's an industrial district, so you can't do anything. And then now, if it's a B3, they're proposing.
And they're proposing as conditional rezoning, eliminating some of the more noxious uses. That's what you're making a recommendation on first, and then we'll get into the weeds of the development.
So if we can distill back down to the conditional rezoning aspect, any other questions on the zoning first? If not, listen to the recommendation from the planning department, please.
yes, sir. Planning Department recommends favorable recommendation of PCZR 24-0003 to conditionally rezone 1.3 acres of land at 22575 and 22599 Telegraph Road from I-1 Industrial to B3 General Business for the following reasons. The Southfield Comprehensive Master Plan indicates Southfield Technology Corridor designation for this property, which calls for high-tech office and research with some supported commercial intersped. The proposed conditional rezoning to B3 General Business would allow for the development of a new gas station and convenience store with beer, wine, and liquor sales and a drive-through carry-out restaurant. The additional uses permitted by the zoning would be compatible with the existing mix of uses and the other commercial uses on this part of Telegraph Road. Conditions, execution and recording of the conditional rezoning agreement subject to review and approval by the city attorney.
Thank you. So just regarding the conditional rezoning, right now we're looking for a motion from the planning commission.
I move for favorable consideration of PZZR 24-0003.
Second.
We've got a favorable motion by Commissioner Willis, supported by Commissioner Martin. All in favor of the conditional rezoning? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, conditional rezoning is recommended.
And if I could now, on the special land use, because hours of operation are incorporated into your approval, I know it's 24-hour operation for the convenience and the gas. What are the proposed hours for the drive-through? Well, till 9, but starting from when?
7 to 9?
But what, the drive-through?
6 to 9, probably.
Drive-through?
Yes.
No, the drive-through is open. Coffee is open.
6 to 9 was what we talked about at the.
Okay, well, that's why I'm asking. You said till 9, but you didn't say when it started.
6 till 9.
And you're saying it's open.
What's 6 to 9? 6 in the morning
drive-
to 9?
The
drive-through?
hours.
I mean, yeah, if I have to, I mean, look, I mean, it depends on the franchise company that we want to hire. Maybe they require a 24-hour deal. We don't know.
Well, then it's not open till 9 p.m.
That's not what we talked
No,
about at the,
Yeah.
at the.
We need to get this clarified for the
Okay.
special land use.
Yep.
If you're going to say that the drive-through is open 24 hours, what's the franchise? Who are you proposing? Because then, we have to look at noise and other issues outside of the gas station with the drive-through. So you need to define what those hours of operation are. Could be a coffee shop, could be a sandwich shop, could be something else, right?
No.
Fast food could be something. So what are your hours of operation?
Okay.
You
Going
want to
back
go
the
5 a.m. to 9 p.m.?
So just to be clear, Ned,
Go ahead.
at the working committee, we talked about the convenience store being open 24 hours,
Correct.
and that the drive-through would end at 9 o'clock.
No, the kitchen is closed at 9 o'clock.
The kitchen is closed at 9
Correct.
o'clock. So the drive-through would continue
Drive-through will continue 24 hours, like everybody else.
to sell what?
Coffee,
So it's going to be a 24-hour coffee shop?
coffee. That's all we do.
Okay.
Either Starbucks or Tim Hortons or any other franchise.
I don't think Starbucks is open 24 hours.
If they're not, we're not,
Well, I think you need to define what your hours of operation are.
right.
Otherwise, I recommend tabling this item until you can give us a definitive answer.
Mr.
I'm not going to recommend this to council without having defined hours of operation. That's a fair question.
I mean, we don't know who's gonna take it over. We don't know
Okay,
yet.
but
We are,
I highly doubt it's a 24-hour drive-through. There's got to be reasonable hours. What time does Starbucks open in the morning?
6.
6 to 9, or whatever it is. You can buy coffee inside 24 hours, but I think it's fair for us
We
to
can do it
say,
till midnight.
we don't want a drive-through at
Midnight,
midnight.
Mr. Crowd, we'll do it from 6 in the morning till midnight. No 24 hours.
Okay, 6 to midnight.
Right. No
And
24
then the
hours.
council can decide if
Right.
that's
No
reasonable
24
or not.
hours.
But at
That's
least
fine.
we have something that we're working with.
That's fine. I can live with that.
And to clarify, that's going to be a condition of the first item and the special use on this?
This is,
Or is this still, we're still clarifying for the conditional rezoning?
no, they've already,
Okay, we're past, we're on to the,
yeah, that's why I said, this is why I brought this up, because we're under special land use.
okay, perfect.
So we have a 24-hour operation for the convenience and gas, and you're saying Monday through Sunday, you're going to have from 6 a.m. to midnight for the drive-through?
Correct.
Okay. At least we have something to forward to council. Council might say midnight's too late, but at least there's some parameters.
Okay. And this is fairly typical. If the tenant's undefined, there's a lot more questions. When the tenant becomes known, it's easier to understand how intense the tenant is to think about these items. Okay, so do we need to open up the public hearing on the special use aspect
Yeah, but
again?
this was part of the presentation so that
Oh.
public can make comments on
Fair
the
enough.
hours of operation, for example.
Okay,
And then you can ask questions after the public hearing, but I think it's important for us to establish those parameters before we open the public hearing.
okay. Any other
Not,
points at this time? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, one
Yep.
more note to add to this meeting here. We need the traffic for that particular area here. It's gonna create a nice traffic for the area here. But if we don't have it till midnight, people, they're gonna stop at the station and pick up their coffee from the station. It's the same thing. Driving the drive-through or stopping and they will have the same, parking spaces, same thing. So, but
It's quieter,
drive-through is
though.
available.
It's quieter, there's not the back and forth, the speaker and the lights outside and everything. That's the only difference.
And this is going to work. Probably if it's not very busy, we don't have to open. Going to work, not going home. So going to work, it's probably until 7, 8 o'clock, it dies down. We just close it. It depends on what the business is.
Yeah, you can always be open less hours, you just have to tell us the maximum hours
Yes, sir.
you want.
You got it.
Fair, okay. All right, anything else you'd like to add for the special use portion of the project?
Just like I told Mr. Gord, is the kitchen will be closing at 9 o'clock. Food will be available on the counters or the coolers, wherever they are. They can pick up the food. That's it.
Okay, thank you. All right, this is a public hearing. I'll open up the public hearing for the special use portion of the project. If anyone any members of the public would like to come forth and speak on this item, you have 3 minutes. Seeing none, close the public hearing. Open up the conversation to Dr. Stevens again. Now we're talking about special use, so.
Now we're back to this. My question still remains.
What was the question? I beg your pardon. The
On
number of
this
employees?
Total number of employees.
total
Okay.
number of employees, hours of, the employees, if you're gonna do it by hours, or it needs to be detailed, because right now, it looks like you have 2 employees, and that's it. That's not, I'm not understanding how that's gonna accommodate what it is you're proposing to do.
Okay, the presentation was to be 2 permanent employees. Ned he's gonna have his office there. He will be there with his family, and they will operate it as well. So it could be 5 or 6, hadn't been discussed with me, but it could possibly be 4. But I totally understand your concern, and that's going to, we'll have to provide more parking, or we'll have to add to the waiver.
yeah, so through the
Do
chair, it's important, we want to make sure it's staffed properly, but we also have to consider parking. So typically what we ask is, what's the number of employees during a maximum shift? So what would, during the day, what would be the maximum number of employees that would be on site at any one time, so that we could factor in parking? But to the commissioner's concern is, we also want to make sure it's properly staffed.
Right. So Ned mentioned 6, so we're going to have to look at 6.
2 and 4. 2 permanent and 4 shifts.
Maximum shift.
Maximums, yeah, 4.
That, 2 and 4, 2 at night and 4 during the day
Correct.
means maximum shift of 4.
Will 6 employees be there at any one time?
Not after 9 o'clock, no.
Well, it'll be 2 at night.
The 2
okay.
at night, yes.
But during the day,
During the day, yes,
there could be 6.
correct.
Okay, so then it's 6 during maximum shift.
That's correct.
Dr. Stevens, got anything
That
else?
answers the question.
Thank you. Commissioner Martin?
So that does change the number of parking spaces required for 6 employees, that doesn't.
Well, we'll have to look at that in light of what they provided.
Yeah, I was looking at the parking just now, too. It looks like they were 4 short, but I'm not seeing how the numbers add up.
I don't know if the bike rack got calculated into the parking, if there's a bus stop adjacent to, and they provided some amenities, I can count that towards a space. I'm going to have to look at it closer before, I believe there's a bus stop on Telegraph Road that could use some improvements.
We do have 1 credit for the bus stop
Right.
Straight out from the building and.
Yeah.
There are actually two bus stops, there's one on 9 Mile and there's one on Tully.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, I can give credit for those types of things, up to 5% of parking required. But now that we know that 6 is the maximum, we'll have to look at the parking space closer before it goes to council.
Okay.
And we have no problem doing that.
And you have, well, I know we require a bike rack, where, I can't see that on the, that's up there under the corner, under those trees?
It's actually, it's west of the fountain.
Yeah,
So-
okay, I see it now.
Yeah, right there, right off the path.
Mr. Willis?
Thank you. You have two buildings you own, or you will own both. Do you see the buildings as separate entities, one company, and then one company, one store, and then one gas station, two separate entities? Or do you see it as one?
Mr. Willis, we're gonna combine them both to one parcel, we're gonna combine them with one company.
Okay, and so you have, with the 6 employees, you'll have one person doing work in both locations? So whatever's required with the gas station, maybe doing something with the facility in back of it?
No, they're all in the same building. Everybody's the same building. We're gonna combine them both. One building's gonna be.
Okay,
And there would be a franchise that would lease the space for the coffee,
okay, okay.
but it'll all be within one building. And one owner, one lessor.
Okay, okay.
Through the
Okay,
chair.
I was thinking along a different line, but no questions.
One parcel.
Okay.
If you plan on leasing it to a Starbucks or Tim Hortons, you plan on staffing it as well, or are you going to let the tenant staff it themselves?
Mr. Bowen, we don't know yet who's coming there, honestly. I mean, it's
Okay.
very hard to get this franchise company to commit to us yet. We don't have approval, we didn't even contact anybody yet, because we don't have the approval. Now we got approval, we're gonna seek their, who's gonna come
The
in.
area dedicated to coffee or food service or whatever is fairly small, so that's going to limit the number of franchises that'll be interested.
But through the chair, I mean, I'm thinking the same thing. Now all of a sudden, you let's just say you lease it to Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, whatever, and they bring in 3 staff in addition to your 6 staff. Now that's 9 parking spaces. That's kind of why we ask these questions.
Well, I'm not disputing the question.
Yeah, but you,
It's an unknown. If you need that known, we can find that out, but as of today, it's an unknown. Because of the space, you're only gonna get a couple people in there.
sure, so what I'm saying is let's reasonably say 2 employees for that space, and then we just calculate that into the parking, so we know. I just looked up, and again, to be fair to you, most Starbucks are open at 5:30 a.m. in the morning, and they close at 8:30 p.m. So before they act, if you want to modify your hours to say 5:30 in the morning, do it tonight. Again, I don't know why you need to have it to midnight, but I want you to be reasonable, because once this gets approved, and if it gets approved at council, you're locked into those hours. So, again, 5:30 seems to be the opening time. Even if it's not a Starbucks, that seems like a reasonable morning shift opening of a drive-through.
I mean, we don't know if it's gonna be Starbucks really, 30, or somebody else, but it doesn't matter. I mean, you wanna do it till 8:30, I don't care really.
No,
It doesn't matter.
I'm suggesting that you amend your ask to 5:30 in the morning.
He's saying,
Giving you more time.
yeah, he's giving you more time, so that's an easy yes. Yes, we'll
We're
amend it.
closing at 8:30, no, that's okay.
Well, that's not what he said. He
then-
was saying, that, for instance, midnight is gonna be troublesome with a drive-through. And
So
he was also
5:30 in the
illustrating
morning
that
to 9 p.m., I think, is a reasonable.
That's fine, 30, no problem. That's
I
fine.
want to be able to work with you, but
You
we
got
all-
it, no
we also
problem.
have to
I'm
be
easy to
reasonable.
work with.
5:30 to 9 p.m.
5:30 to 9.
On the drive-through.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Okay.
To the chair,
Yes, Commissioner Martin.
at the point we're at right now, we're unknown on who you're gonna lease the coffee shop to, or if it will be a lease, the number of employees there, and the number of parking spaces required for that. You aren't 100% sure of how many employees during the day or during the hours, and you're saying family. You don't count family members, we count individuals that are there to work. There are too many unknowns. I suggest that you go back, sit down, and go through all the details you need, because you're coming up with too many answers too many questions that cannot be answered at this time, and you're wasting your time and ours, because we can't approve what we don't know. And if you don't know who's gonna do coffee, or who the potential people are for coffee, or, or the number of employees that a potential coffee leaser would need, you can't give us a good answer. We need to know the answer so that when we approve it, or, when we vote on it, we have figures that we can support, and that can be supported by what the information that you gave us. We can't go on the scientific wild ass guess. We have to have some statistical data that is supported.
Okay. We don't have that, sir. We're not gonna have the statistical data that you need. We don't have any tenants yet. We don't have no sale yet. We have no marketing to anybody yet.
But have you talked to anyone to get ideas of how many people?
The planning-
I mean, if you go to Starbucks or Tim Hortons or
Yeah.
Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, Dunkin' Donuts.
The-
Do you know how many employees
Yeah.
they would want in an area that size? Go to them and ask them, how are you gonna
Yeah,
find
we don't
out
have
if
none
they
of
want
that.
a lease?
No.
If you have an idea what you're gonna do, you might go to the people that you think that are in that business to see, so you have an idea of what you need for that area. That's
Yeah.
all I'm saying. And to tell us that you're gonna
Absolutely.
have a coffee shop,
Your
Absolutely.
You already established 559, that's what we need.
And this
We
kind of
need
brings up my
559.
question from last time. It seems like the building might be too big for the site. And when the building's too big and you don't have enough parking and there's really more employees than you thought, it's just too big. There's too many things going on. So I don't know if you looked at how you could get more parking spaces on this site by shrinking the building, which will get all your numbers more in line. Did you take a look at that since the last meeting? It does seem like there's a lot happening here. I mean, there was a very small gas station on a very small corner of this property. It's a lot more area, but there's so many functions jammed into the one spot that it seems like everyone's arriving at the same, it's busy, it's too busy probably. How busy
Yeah.
is it gonna really be in line?
And you're selling liquor.
Yeah,
We already
apparently.
established 539.
Dr. Stevens again?
That's what we established already. So
To the
that's all we need.
petitioner?
We have nobody else. Mr. Chairman, so we already established the timing or the opening for the gas station, the drive-through from 5:30 to 9. That's all we have. We have nothing else. We cannot get anything else until everything is ready to go. We tear down, we market. We have no other data or information to supply the commission here at all.
But we will get some.
We'll get some, yeah.
Through the chair.
Yeah.
I suggest that you might want to consider how you lay this out and use that information to solicit possible tenants for your facility, so that way, as Mr. Martin proposes, that you have an idea of how many employees, what sizes, and that kind of thing. I agree with Mr. Martin that I don't think the proposal is complete at this point.
We can do that. That is very easy to do. We can get typicals without a doubt.
Any other commissioners?
Yeah.
Commissioner Gruber? Go.
There is, just a suggestion, there's a gas station on, I believe, Maple and Telegraph that has a Dunkin' Donuts in it. You could go in there and just talk to them, and, it's just a point of information to solicit some ideas.
No, but we have the restaurants inside, the kitchens inside.
So
the
is
restaurants,
theirs.
yeah.
Theirs is inside.
No,
They
other
don't have a
kitchens.
drive-through, but it's just I'm just trying to help you out to give you an idea of
know,
a
yeah, I know.
possible
And we
tenant.
appreciate that. I've
Okay.
Here's
I've done a
what,
Tim Hortons and a Dunkin' over the last few years.
Oh,
and-
okay.
And the spaces, there's other franchises available, but I very much
Okay.
appreciate that.
Okay.
They require much more space for that type of operation, but
What
perfect
we're trying
suggestion.
to avoid is if we come up with reasonable parameters, then you go out and you get your lease, and hopefully it fits within those parameters. If it doesn't, then you have to come back through the whole process again, public hearings, plan commission recommendation, city council. So we would like to give you a starting point and end point for these issues so that you can go out there and you can have it fit without having to take a step back.
So we received a conditional rezoning approval. Is it possible to table the site plan special land use? And I already
Yeah,
know-
and
No, I already know.
what I would suggest is, let's get this cleaned up at this level, because I don't want the council to scrutinize this and say that you're not ready.
For sure.
We already have acted on the conditional rezoning, you've already held the public hearing for the special use, so we don't need to do that again. And then we'll come back next month, and then we'll send all 3 items forward to council at the same time.
Absolutely. Thank you.
But before you go, is any other comments from the commission? And I've got a couple asks for you to consider while you're looking at this.
Commissioner Bernuti?
No, I'm just very confused about it. I think it's best that we do it as you suggested. I want to know about the hours and who's going to run the drive-through and, the security, all of it, so I think we need to clarify.
Commissioner Goodwin, anything else to add?
I'm just as confused as everybody else, so.
This is what we was
Well, they'll clarify it next month. Commissioner
So-
Willis,
I'm good, thank you.
We can get variance.
any other comments? Commissioner Martin?
Before you make your motion, do you have another question, Mr. Martin?
I was just gonna ask you, would this be postponed to
A date certain, yeah. It
Would
would
that
be
be
our
for-
regular meeting in September.
And
And then in the meantime, you can work with our office to get this clarified, and then we can update the presentation.
Sounds good.
Now, I like the fact that, even though there are requirements, you got your pedestrian connectivity, I like that you're adding the fountain. I didn't hear anything about an art requirement. I'm sure this is over $1 million all-in development.
Yeah, there's a fountain in the front.
Right. That still has to be approved by the Arts Commission.
Yep.
Consider it. The one other ask that I would like you to consider, and I know it's not a sit-down restaurant, but on a nice day, and we always are trying to encourage neighbors to be able to walk there, is maybe provide 1 or 2 outdoor tables or chairs, whether they're cafe style or a picnic table. See if you can incorporate a little patio area. So if someone wants to take a break, grab a coffee, sit outside, enjoy the weather. If one of the neighbor businesses employee wants to come and get a coffee or a cold drink or a beverage or a sandwich and sit outside, that you provided just a small area for that. I just like you to look at that.
It's Main Street, though.
And I could see that little, maybe there's a little extension area just off of one of the end caps there that you could incorporate that in.
And where?
We don't have to design it right now. Just take a look at it.
Well, no, and you said end caps.
Well, either at the end of the drive-through, I guess the east side of the building where it's labeled drive-through.
And to put what there?
Just a little bit of a patio area for a couple tables and chairs.
Oh,
Or maybe it's down towards remove some landscaping and create a little scene.
okay.
And we can work on that before next month.
Okay, so to clarify, we're going to look for a motion to postpone to a date certain for both of the remaining items, the
Yep.
special use and the
And
site
the
plan
site.
review. We're going to look for individual motions, we're going to vote on each. Commissioner Martin?
I was just gonna ask Terry, at the same time, would we ask them to
For both?
do a snow storage area? Because
Well,
it's,
they're required to have a snow storage area.
they're
I
not,
don't know if it's been
They
addressed.
talked about it.
Yeah, it's on the southwest corner of the property.
Top left.
Different plan sheet,
Yeah.
sheet C1.
So you could postpone this to a date certain of September 25th.
Okay. Chair, Motion to postpone to a date certain PSLU 24-0016 and PSP 24-0014.
To a date.
Do we
To a
have
date
to-
certain of
do we have to
September
enact on each
25th.
individual? Oh, okay, so, yeah, we'll group them together. So we have a favorable motion by Commissioner Martin. We got a second by Commissioner Bernuti to postpone to the date of September 25th. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. So you've heard all the suggestions. Just please be in contact with the planning department.
Will do. Thank you very
you.
much.
Thanks
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you for the input.
Okay, next, two items at 19421 West 10 Mile Road, the Family Victory Fellowship Church.
Yes, sir. So the church is looking to rezone from OS office service and RE single family to complete OS office service across the whole site. They want to rezone the entire parcel to OS office service in order to add a storage shed onto the site. If you look, you can see the surrounding zoning. We have ERO, Education, Research, and Office, as well as OS in the northern section of the property, and then also adjacent, and then single-family RE to the east and to the southeast, and then B3 littered in between. It's just outside of the city center district. Future land use is showing as moderate density multiple family. Current zoning, again, showing the permitted land uses and special land uses. And then proposed zoning in the OS district. And then we've highlighted church and related facilities as being allowed. Here's an aerial of the site plan. If you look behind you, you can see the two sheds, the one existing right here, and then the proposed shed right here. I believe it's going to be a 10 by 12 shed that they are getting from Home Depot. Existing conditions, nice lawn, nice little play area. Again, the shed with the different styles that they offer. But again, they're going to be doing the 10 by 12. And the petitioner is here for a short summary.
If I could, before, the issue with the split zoning, there's different setback requirements, and there's some non-conforming situations, and by going to all OS, gives them greater flexibility with less restrictions. And I feel we've met for quite some time. All they want to do is build the shed, but then it's brought up a lot of non-conforming situations, and we've wrestled on trying to come up with the best solution, and really ultimately is rezone the entire site to OS.
Okay. Could you please remind us your name and address for the record?
My name is Michelle Davis. I'm going to use the church address, 19421 West 10 Mile Road.
Beatrice Pack, the same address.
Thank you. Just anything else you'd like to add?
No, but we did talk about why we needed the shed. I could reiterate that it's very important for us to continue the work that we're doing for this community. There's not a food distribution within a 4 to 10 mile radius on the days that we serve. Unfortunately, we've run into an issue where they're putting concrete down on Red River and 10 miles, so we've kind of had it suspended for the month of August. Hopefully they'll be done, but you know, we want to continue to feed this community. We need the shed because it would lend us the opportunity to have more control and increase productivity. It would give us a secure and safe space for our equipment. Right now, our equipment is locked up in the church. We can get to it, but it's in various places. We have to pull it out, and we need a place that we can go and get our stuff and, you know, get to running and get our work done. It's readily accessible, and also community beautification issue where we have cones outside the current shed that could be put inside the shed. And so it would increase our storage space also. And as we grow, right now, I have what you have, a hand cart with a dolly on it, the flatbed on it, is in my garage because there's no place. I purchased it for the church, but there's no place to put it. So we need to be able to have a place that we can put our equipment to really run our food distribution more efficiently.
Okay, thank you. I'll ask you to step back for a second while we have the public hearing, and then may need to come back up for any further questions. This is a public hearing. I'll open up to the public at this time. If any members of the public wish to come forward and speak on this item. Seeing none, close the public hearing. Dr. Stevens-Gunn, any questions or comments?
Oh, I have comments. First of all, ladies, to your pastor and to the church administration, I live in the community, and I thank you so very much. During the pandemic, you all were just, there are no words. Your volunteers, your teams, it was, there are no words. So thank you very much. It saddens me that we have to go through this for you to get a shed, but at least you're willing to do it, and you maintain the property. The property always looks nice, even with all the construction that's going on right now, the new sign out front. You all are doing wonderful work, and may God continue to bless you.
Thank you so much.
Commissioner Martin?
I also wanted to say you should
You can
mention,
come back
mention your computer resale process that you go through with the laptops and computers that you no longer need and have available for the community. That's also something you should be thanked for. Thank you.
I can only repeat what my colleagues have said. Thank you.
Ditto.
Thank you so much. You've been such an asset in the neighborhood, and we appreciate it.
Yes.
I'll just say, we all have to follow the same zoning ordinance in this city, and you're just going through the process like everybody else. I have no opposition to changing the zoning to allow the shed and clean up the site. And like I said before, your sign, your new sign is much improved. I also cannot wait for the 10-mile road construction to be finished. Messes up my life too. Excellent. So, looking for the planning recommendation on the rezoning.
Yes, sir. The Planning Department recommends favorable recommendation of PZR 24-0009 to rezone 2.9 acres of land at 19421 West 10 Mile Road from RE Single Family to OS Office Service. The Southfield Comprehensive Master Plan indicates moderate density single-family use for this property, which calls for single-family homes on lots less than 20,000 square feet and permits complementary small-scale institutional uses, such as churches. The proposed rezoning to OS Office Service would allow for the development of the southern portion of the site for activities related to the existing church and child care center. The additional uses permitted by the rezoning would be compatible with the existing mix of uses in the area.
Thank you. Looking for a motion on the rezoning.
I motion that we accept the favorable recommendation for PZR 24-0009.
Support.
Favorable motion by Dr. Stevens-Gunn, supported by Commissioner Willis. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We still have, we got
One more item, so. All right. So now that the zoning has been changed, we're talking about, can you place the shed where you're proposing to place the shed?
Okay.
Anything additional to add? You told us why you're going for the shed. I think we,
Anything that, I'm sorry, I didn't get the question.
if you had anything additional to give, you did tell us the whole presentation originally of the use of the shed and why, and where there's already an existing shed near there that's.
I think if you're comfortable, Mr. Boland can read the recommended resolution.
I think so.
Absolutely.
The Planning Department recommends favorable recommendation of the site plan review request by Family Victory Fellowship Church to add a storage shed at 19421 West 10 Mile Road for the following reasons and with the following conditions. All development features are located so as to minimize the possibility of any adverse impacts on adjacent properties and so as to relate properly to pedestrian and vehicular traffic safety. The site plan does show that access is provided only to a major or secondary thoroughfare or freeway service drive, and that a proper relationship exists between the major or secondary thoroughfare and any proposed service roads, driveways, and parking areas in order to encourage pedestrian and vehicular traffic safety. This recommendation is based on the documents, facts, representations, and stipulations submitted with the application and placed on the record during the public hearing by the petitioner or their representatives. Conditions for the recommendation, subject to approval of PZR 24-009 by the City Council, subject to the approval of waivers by the Zoning Board for side yard setback. The site and building shall be developed in accordance with the submitted site plan set prepared by Z8 Tolbear Architect. Revision submitted 8/21/24. The petitioner is to implement the recommendations made by the Southfield Police Department's Crime Prevention Bureau regarding site security and continuous compliance with all applicable ordinance, codes, laws, and statutes. And all work is to be performed, under plans, permits, and final inspections approved by the City of Southfield.
Thank you. For a motion,
Do should make a motion.
Commissioner Bernucci, go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion for PSP 24-0013.
Second.
Favorable motion by Commissioner Bernucci, second by Dr. Stevens Gunn. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Thank you. Next step, City
Thank
Council.
you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah,
Could be worse. Could be worse.
not much.
Next item is at 25100 Northwestern Highway.
Yes, sir.
Several items.
The petitioner is Tunnels to Towers Foundation. They're looking to rezone the parcel from B3 General Business to RC Regional Center in order to permit the conversion of the existing hotel into a multifamily residential use, and then to be used as a veterans village. We have the current zoning, currently B3 with surrounding RC to the north, OS to the east, Education Research Office, which is Lawrence Tech, across the highway, and then B3 adjacent. Future land use, City Center District, which this is in accordance with that. Again, permitted land uses and special land uses within the B3. And then the proposed zoning, permitted land uses and special land uses. We've again highlighted the multiple family uses as permitted land uses by right within the RC district. Here's the site plan. They're going to be converting the inside and then not making significant changes to the outside, but bringing it up to code nonetheless. And here's the updated landscape plan. And then here's the first floor plan. You see the recreational space. I believe they said that the pool will be filled. And then they're plan on putting an elevator in. And then they're also going to have a food pantry for the residents. Second floor plan, they plan to have a case manager and day room on there. I believe it's going to be staffed 24/7 by their workers for any needs that the veterans have. And then the third floor plan, more of the same, 1 to 2 beds, I believe. And then the larger corners, I believe, are the 2 beds. Existing conditions, Holiday Inn, looks pretty new. Again, existing. And I'll invite the petitioner up. I believe they have a presentation.
Please give us your name and address for the record. Anything else you'd like to add?
Thank you, Commissioner. My name is Gavin Naples. I'm the Vice President of the Tunnel to Towers
That
Foundation.
microphone's real touchy. Just try to.
No good?
There it is.
There you go. Thank you, Commissioner. My name is Gavin Naples. I'm the Vice President of the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. The Tunnel to Towers Foundation began in the wake of the 9/11 terrorist attacks in New York City. From that sacrifice, his brothers and sisters got around a kitchen table and said, we need to honor what he did for New York City and for America. And 20-plus years later, they've grown the Tunnel to Towers Foundation into a $500 million a year organization that gives 95 cents of every single dollar away to its programs. We provided over 1,200 mortgage-free homes to catastrophically injured service members, the families of fallen first responders, and Gold Star families throughout the nation. Our newest program seeks to eradicate homelessness amongst veterans nationwide. There's over 35,000 veterans experiencing homelessness right now throughout the nation. That's what the federal government admits. The number is much higher. So what we've done in a very tight time frame to address such a tremendous issue is developed a two-pronged model. The first is our veterans' villages. We're going throughout the nation to the places where the rates of homelessness are highest throughout the nation, and we're acquiring hospitality properties as well as raw land, and we're providing permanent affordable housing complexes with 24/7 wraparound supportive services for our veterans. It's not enough to just provide a high-quality housing accommodation to a veteran that may be struggling. You need to provide a platform of rehabilitation and eventual reintegration back into the community, which is our ultimate objective. So 24/7 at each of these villages on the first floor, as you'll see in the site plan, we have case management, behavioral health support, PTSD support, entitlements assistance, employment assistance, legal advocacy, and a litany of other supportive services that are there for our veterans. These are conduits of other organizations and communities in the same space to get involved and galvanize around our veterans for ancillary services, pet therapy, art therapy, music therapy, cooking classes, apprenticeships, fishing trips, ATV rides. Where we effectuate these villages, it really brings the community together and funnels those services through our villages. We have about 12 different projects currently throughout the nation: Atlanta, Houston, Bradenton, Buffalo, Toms River, Denver, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Charleston, Charlotte, all over the nation. And I'll get to our plans for Southfield in a second, but just to give you some scope as to what we're doing outside of these large metro areas, you still have 75% of America. The second prong of our program is our National Case Management Network. And that is anywhere in the nation where a veteran or their family is experiencing homelessness. We have an internal team of case managers, employment specialists, housing coordinators that onboard these veterans and their families no matter their location. We provide them direct financial assistance to get them housed in their area. And then we work with a network of over 1,000 supportive service organizations throughout the nation to provide them with that supportive services that they need on a more remote basis. So if it's a veteran with 3 children sleeping in a van in Louisiana or Arkansas or North Dakota or even in Detroit or Southfield, they can call our foundation. We provide them housing usually that same day. We work with them and the VA to go to their coordinated entry points to get their governmental assistance that is afforded to them based on their veteran status. And then we have attorneys in Southfield and Detroit and Arkansas and North Dakota and PTSD clinics and drug and alcohol rehabilitation centers and employment opportunities and tactics for family reintegration so that we can help any veteran that is struggling that reaches out to the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Some shots of our residences. Everyone has their own bathroom. Everyone has their own kitchen. There's no communal living. This is not a shelter. This is not a transitional site where people are coming and going every 3, 6, 9 months. This is a permanent housing facility for veterans. As I said, our ultimate objective is that they reintegrate back into the community, and we assist with that. But if this is a veteran's last stop, think your Vietnam War era veterans that may have a little bit more trouble reintegrating back into the community, this can be their permanent home for as long as they'd like. A litany of supportive service spaces, gyms, multi-purpose rooms, clothing rooms, workforce development centers where veterans can interact with veterans and other staff. Here are just some of our supportive services as I outlined before. We provide daily funded transportation to and from the nearest VA hospital, employment opportunities, grocery stores, banks, so that veterans, their physical location is never a barrier. We take on that financial burden. Obviously, this site as well is right on a bus route with a good proximity to other commercial businesses, so veterans can feel that they're engaged in the community. This project's fully funded. We're not asking for a dollar from anyone. The acquisition, renovation, and maintenance is funded in perpetuity by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. And because we're not beholden to any sort of government funding, we're incredibly responsive and nimble to the needs of the project and also our veteran community. The picture says 1,000 words. Here's our facility in Houston, Texas, which houses 131 veterans. Atlanta, Georgia, under construction now. Tampa, Florida. Manatee County deeded us 9 acres. We're going to be developing a 84-unit apartment complex and a village of 38 comfort homes. Buffalo, New York, 4 minutes from the nearest VA hospital. Toms River, New Jersey. This was just approved 3 days ago. It's a 7-acre tract. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, right on the Susquehanna River. Las Vegas, Nevada, across the street from the largest VA medical hospital in the state of Nevada. Riverside, California, on March Air Force Base. We currently have 175 permanent housing units with U.S. vets. And in West Los Angeles, which is the epicenter of homelessness and veteran homelessness, there was a 388-acre tract of land owned by the VA that was deeded by Abraham Lincoln back in the 1860s. It's fallen into a state of disrepair over the last 100 years. Tunnel to Towers Foundation and a group of organizations on the West Coast put up nearly $1 billion to transform this property, which will provide housing and services to over 3,000 veterans at the end of this decade. Southfield, we're proposing the conversion of the old Holiday Inn into permanent housing for it's a 98-unit current hotel. We're proposing 91 units, I believe. And we're going to be reconfiguring the first floor for all of our supportive services. Many other villages coming soon. And our mantra is that if you and I wouldn't live there, we're not going to impose it on our veterans. And we feel that every night we don't act is another night a veteran doesn't get back. And the men and women that fought for our country should never be left out on the streets of the country they volunteered to protect. So I thank you very much for your consideration. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Okay, thank you very much. This is a public hearing. I'll just ask you to step back for a second. Open up the public hearing for the rezoning portion of this project. Any members of the public wish to speak? Come forward at this time. Give us your name and address. You'll have 3 minutes.
Hello. My name is Bob Kelfan, 4287 Nicholas Drive in Sterling Heights, Michigan.
My name is Shawnetta Stokes, 26623 West Carnegie Park, Southfield, 48034.
So Shawnetta and we're the local volunteers for the Detroit chapter of Tunnel to Towers. Our biggest event right now is a 5K run, which is coming up in another week or so. I got involved with Tunnel to Towers for about 3 years now. I actually was at the opening for what we have a Let Us Do Good Village down outside of Tampa, Florida, which we build smart homes for catastrophically injured veterans. And those are also mortgage-free homes for them. And then I was part of the dedication and the opening of the Houston facility. Just was phenomenal. And let me tell you, everything Tunnel to Towers does, from my experience, is very successful. And Southfield, Michigan would be very proud to host this village where we can support these much deserving veterans.
I've been a resident of Southfield for over 20 years. I've been a volunteer with Tunnel to Towers since at least 2019. And I'm just here in support of it. I think it would be an honor for the city of Southfield to be the first city in the state of Michigan to host a veterans village for our veterans who are so deserving.
I'm really excited about this location. As you know, you jump on the Lodge Freeway, we're down at the, we can get our veterans down to the John Dingle VA Medical Center in Newtown in like 12 minutes. So that's one of the, like Gavin was saying, that's one of the criteria for location. We want to give these veterans a sense of community and dignity. And it's going to be a great project. I am looking forward to devoting more of my time to this as well as the other events that we support.
Thank you. All right, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jasdeep Sohi. I'm hospitality advisor with the Sohi Group, located at 1080 Collins Court in Oakland Township, Michigan. We've been working with Gavin in trying to identify some opportunities, and we were really amazed at when first we came to know about their foundation. They've done some great work throughout the country, and I think that this project is going to be really one of a kind, and they have a proven track record of doing things the right way. Like we were actually working with Kiwi Hospitality. They transformed that hotel into a really nice facility, and I think that they will do an amazing job at converting this into veteran housing. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Seeing no other public approaching, close the public hearing. To the commission, Dr. Stevens again.
First of all, this is my first hearing of this foundation, and I think it's an excellent, excellent opportunity for our community. The location, I think, is superb because it is placed within a community. It's right down the street from our city center, the library, the golf course, a lot of things that are going on here, especially with things that we have on our front lawn. So I think it's an excellent opportunity. It's an excellent opportunity to reuse that facility for this purpose. The other thing I think that's wonderful about it is the support services that you're going to have on the first floor, which will be there for the veterans, as well as, I'm sure, if in crisis situations, available to the community as well. So I am in full support and excited about this opportunity for our community.
Thank you very much.
Commissioner Martin.
I think Stevens made his own thunder during your presentation. I support it wholeheartedly. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My only concern is when you have hearing aids, you can't hear with the rain. So I may have missed some of your presentation, but I'm just curious. I know you're going to remove the swimming pool.
Yes.
Are you going to replace it with other recreation? You may have addressed it, I just didn't hear it. So if there's other recreation, I'd like to hear what's going on with that.
Yes, certainly. So we are removing the swimming pool. We're filling that in. But there's gyms and multi-purpose rooms and game rooms and workforce development rooms, and we beautify the outside perimeter with landscaping and memorial gardens that we're going to be doing to also have, inside and outside. But there's lounges and case management offices where veterans interact with other staff. So while there won't be a pool, there is a good amount of recreational space for our veterans.
Okay. Thank you. I'm absolutely supportive. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Gruber.
Thank you for choosing Southfield. Really, it's an honor for us to be able to support this.
Thank you.
I'm in agreement with all the commissioners thus far. I had a question though. Are you planning to do more of the villages in Michigan?
Yes, so what we're doing now is sort of a counterclockwise revolution around the United States. There are a lot of states that are in a little bit more need than others. California, Florida, Texas. Michigan actually has, what the federal government admits, over 2,400 unhoused veterans right now. And when I talk about these federal definitions, chronically homeless is a term that is used which has parameters on it. So if you're sleeping in your van for 3 months, you're not chronically homeless. If you're sleeping on your brother's couch, or you just got divorced, or you are just got evicted, or you have a foreclosure notice, you're not chronically homeless. Tunnel to Towers Foundation doesn't abide by those definitions. We help veterans that are actually in crisis no matter what their situation is. My point being, the number's much higher. So as for when we come back to Michigan, we will identify, where those areas are greatest, and yes, there will be many, many more veterans villages. We hope that this is a replicable model that other organizations will follow, and obviously no one can do this alone, but all organizations working towards the same common goal is how we can eradicate homelessness amongst veterans.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to also reiterate that we're very, very honored that you have chosen Southfield. And every amenity is just right here for them. And it's long overdue. They deserve everything that we have to give to them, and we appreciate it, and I'm in full support as well.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think this is a really good adaptive reuse project. It's already set up as studio units with kitchens, kitchenettes, or whatever. I mean, it's not you got to gut everything and start everything new. It's I don't know, 25-year, 30-year-old building that, it's a great start, and the location, we've all talked about the location, makes so much sense. It seems like the right size units. The hotel's probably went through its lifespan. It's good to get somebody to put fresh finishes and quality back into it instead of letting it just run completely into the ground. And then the permanent, the permanent residency kind of, I assume, maybe I assume you want to get in and you want to stay when you're there. You want to, you don't want to get kicked out. You want to just follow the rules of the program. And this isn't there's some new influx of people, but for the most part, this is going to be a pretty stable asset, I assume.
Absolutely, and on those points, it is in good condition, but we're still going to put millions of dollars into the renovation for it, so it's going to be much nicer once we're done. But the safety and security of not only the village, but the surrounding community is of paramount importance to us. We've put a tremendous amount of money and effort into that. Every single inch of the village is captured by CCTV. We have 24/7 guards, and the intake and screening of the recipients and of our tenants, that's really where it starts. Veterans meet us halfway. They have skin in the game, they pay rent. It's never more than 30% of their income, never more than the affordable housing designation of the location, but we screen out veterans that have any dishonorable discharges, any sexual-based offenses, any major violent crimes. So again, we're meeting veterans sort of halfway that are very interested in reintegrating back into the community. Family reintegration, going on to buy homes, entrepreneurial career paths, those are big tenets of what we're doing here.
Planner Crowe, do you have something?
Yeah, unfortunately, when we had that brief power outage, there's just a little gap in the presentation. And this is really multifamily with supportive services. You happen to be targeting homeless veterans, but it's not a homeless shelter.
Absolutely.
So just in case we lost that in your presentation, if you could just reiterate what type of housing this is, and that veterans are free to come and go. I also agree with the commission. I couldn't think of a better location in our city center that's walkable, that has public transit, that has jobs, that has food, education, the library, all supportive services within a walking distance, in addition to everything that you're providing. But if you could just do a synopsis again of the type of housing this is?
Absolutely. So this is not a transitional site, this is not a shelter. Transitional refers to a federally funded program where veterans, the federal government pays for veterans to go to a specific location for a finite amount of time, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. The federal funding runs out, and then they have to go to another location. And it's this never-ending cycle of 9 months here, 9 months here, 9 months here, and they're never getting out of it. The need for permanent housing with that continuity of supportive services is what we're providing. So again, they pay rent, they have the free services that Tunnel to Towers provides, but they're not being kicked out in 9 months and going somewhere else. So this is their home, and as I said, our ultimate objective is reintegration back into the community, but if this is a veteran's last stop, they will, they can live out their golden years with comfort and dignity at the Veterans Village. These are much more stabilized individuals than what you'd see in a shelter-type environment.
And I have a question. How will the veterans apply to become one of the residents there?
Sure. So we work very closely with the VA. We're not beholden to them, by any means, but we work very closely with the VA nationally and locally to identify veterans that would meet our criteria, and then we have a robust network through Tunnel to Towers where people reach out to us organically. So I have no doubt that this will be filled up in short order, and that's something I'd really like to reiterate again, is that while this is only 91 units, there's many other veterans struggling. Our National Case Management Network can assist those veterans and those families. So the 92nd veteran, they can call our foundation and we can provide them housing, 2, 3, 4, 5 bedroom apartments in Southfield, in Detroit, wherever they are, and then we can work with them for those supportive services. So we're not turning any veterans away.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Good. Mr. Willis.
Thank you. Your presentation was gender neutral, but I'm assuming male and female?
That's correct, sir.
Okay. And you said it is you will not accept individuals with dishonorable discharge. Does that become an absolute wall? I mean, do you hear it, or?
So we have discretion in what we do. Sexual-based offenses are, that's a complete no-no for the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Dishonorable discharge and major crimes. But to the extent possible, our National Case Management Network assists those veterans with referrals, and we help them to other organizations that are better suited to help them. So we're not turning anyone away. It's just that we're, the veterans that live at the village, there is a certain set of criteria.
Okay, thank you.
Do you help veterans that are in other facilities within the metropolitan area? Can they come to the village and seek assistance?
So the amenities
The
here.
services?
Yes, so the amenities here are for the veterans at the site. That is to say that if veterans reach out to us and want to come and be at the village or engage in our services, we're not going to turn them away. So we do work very closely with other organizations. As I said, we want these to be sort of conduits in the same space. But this year alone, we'll provide housing assistance and access to services through our case management network and our villages to over 6,500 veterans and over 2,000 children. So it's much more robust than just our villages. So yes, to answer your question.
Okay. There are veterans that are staying in an apartment complex within the city of Southfield. Are they aware of the services available and the housing available to them?
They will be once we begin this renovation, yes.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Anybody else? Okay. Can we have a recommendation from the planning department?
Planning Department recommends favorable recommendation of PZR 24-0010 to rezone 3.07 acres of land at 25100 Northwestern Highway from B3 General Business to RC Regional Center. The Southfield Comprehensive Master Plan indicates Southfield City Center District for this property, which calls for a mixed-use area including universities and colleges that serve as the community meeting place or heart of Southfield. The proposed rezoning to RC Regional Center would allow for the adaptive reuse of the site to allow for a multifamily complex focused on veteran housing. The additional uses permitted by the rezoning would be compatible with the existing mix of uses in the area.
Thank you.
To the chair, before we have a vote, can I ask Planner Crowell a question?
Absolutely.
Can you tell me the tax status of this property? Will this property taxes, or is it exempt?
Well, right now, they're probably paying property taxes. If you're a tax-exempt organization.
We are a 501c3 organization.
Okay, that's what I need to know. Thank you.
For a motion on the rezoning aspect?
I'd like to make a motion on PZR 24-0010.
Support.
Okay, we have a favorable motion by Commissioner Bernuti, supported by Commissioner Willis. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None? All right, last item, the site plan review. I think we can probably skip ahead to the planner's recommendation, and then if there's any additional discussion.
I have one comment after he reads this.
Okay.
Planning Department recommends favorable recommendation of the site plan review request by Tunnels to Towers Foundation to adapt and reuse an existing building for multiple family residential use located at 25100 Northwestern Highway for the following reasons and with the following conditions. All development features are located so as to minimize the possibility of any adverse impacts on adjacent properties and so as to relate to pedestrian and vehicular traffic safety. The site plan does show that access is provided only to a major or secondary thoroughfare or freeway service drive, and that a proper relationship exists between the major or secondary thoroughfare and any proposed service roads, driveways, and parking areas in order to encourage pedestrian and vehicular traffic safety. This recommendation is based on the documents, facts, representations, and stipulations submitted with the application and placed on the record during the public hearing by the petitioner or their representatives. The following conditions, subject to approval of PZR 24-0010 by the City Council, subject to the approval of waivers by the Zoning Board for minimum floor area per dwelling unit and the required parking. The site and building shall be developed in accordance with the submitted plan set prepared by Leo A. Daly, revised 7/26/24. The petitioner is to implement the recommendations made by the Southfield Police Department's Crime Prevention Bureau regarding site security and continuous compliance with all applicable ordinances, codes, laws, and statutes, and the petitioner must perform all work under plans, permits, and final inspections approved by the City of Southfield.
Planner Crowe?
Alex, would you mind going to the site plan for a minute?
Is this good, or you want the?
No, the site plan.
Oh, the whole site plan.
Wouldn't that be before their presentation?
Yeah.
So I thought there was like a landscape. There we are. So on that, if you look at the lower right corner of this site, on Evergreen Road is a bus stop. It's one of our busiest bus stop locations. Like, I see at least 5, 6, 7 people there a lot of times, and we don't have enough right away. We have a bench and a trash can. Would you be willing to work with us to give us a small easement so that we can put some additional seating or amenities for that bus stop?
I don't see that being a problem. Would you mind just specifying exactly what you're talking about?
See where those three trees are in the corner?
Yeah.
That's approximately the area. If you went just right of that, there's an existing bus stop.
And that's within the buffer, I'm assuming?
Yeah, our right-of-way does not give us enough area to put any additional furnishings there.
Okay.
So typically, we work with the adjacent property owner to get an easement to install some additional amenities for the users of the bus stop.
That's fine.
Okay. Other than that, again, I think this is going to be a great addition to our community, and doing some of the sprucing up here also will help refreshen that property.
Thank you.
Commissioner Martin, you had a question?
We're back on that same slide. There was this walkway along Northwestern Highway that was asked to be put in. I wasn't, yeah, that walkway there, yeah, along Northwestern, that's.
Where?
Yeah, that was added.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that, that's the one that was added. Thank you.
There's no other discussion. Looking for a recommendation on the site plan review aspect.
I move for favorable consideration for PSP 24-0015.
Support.
A favorable recommendation by Commissioner Willis, supported by Commissioner Goodwin-Dye. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Good
We
luck.
look forward to seeing all of the things that you're doing, and
Thank you
We
very
appreciate
much.
it. Thank
We
you.
guarantee this is going to be amazing. Thank you.
no more.
Meeting minutes from July 10th, July 15th, and July 24th.
To the chair,
Just remind everybody, we're still in the meeting. If we take the conversations out, thank you.
thank you.
Commissioner Martin.
Recommend favorable approval of the minutes for the Planning Commission, July 10th study meeting, July 15th City Council joint meeting with the Planning Commission, and the July 24th minutes as provided.
Support.
Favorable recommendation by Commissioner Martin, supported by Commissioner Willis for approval of the minutes. All in favor? Aye. Public comment. It's another public comment portion of the meeting. If any members of the public would like to come forward and speak on any item, you have 3 minutes. Go. Please remind us again your name and address for the record. You'll have another 3 minutes to speak.
My name is Gulal Arati. As you guys know, I'm the current tenant of the Telegraph. There are some important points that I would just like to clarify about the proposal. One thing that currently happens at that facility, there's a speedway that really comes once every 2 or 3 months to extract some like hazardous environmental spill. So at that area, they usually come inside and outside just to clean up basically some of the spill that happens probably years and years ago from Speedway that used to be owning that property. So that's one of the points I just want to let you know about. And second thing, it was, I believe when he mentioned about the current operation for me as a tenant at that place, I was, we agree because he mentioned that there's no lease currently at that moment. His brother, just to give a record, his brother gave me a lease in 2019, and there's confusion about him and his brother, that he gave me a 10-year lease and mentioned that the operation of that station proceeds normally as it had been for years. So I'm just surprised that he mentioned that point, that there are no lease whatsoever happening between us and him. That's just one of the clarified points, just to make it accurate. So as you know, I support any project in Southfield. I don't mind having this project out to the next level. But there are always certain safety procedures need to be precautioned at any given, not just for me as a tenant. No, I'm not just saying that because I'm a tenant, no way. It's just because of this community surroundings. It's a really crowded community and traffic. And I see it, in my view, as something needs some more effort to it. And more vigilance. That's what I would say about it. So that's probably the ones that I need to say about. So it all goes back to the city legislator. And city legislators always know what's better for the city. Doesn't matter what the proposal is. As I have stated before, I have been there for almost a decade. And they always take it extremely seriously when it comes to community safety, surroundings, doesn't matter what the project is. And I would just like to add that it will be something that I need to be careful about. That's all I need to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
You talking about speedways they come in to clean up? Is this a runoff from the tanks or something in the ground, or?
No, that happened years ago, that probably on the land, for some reason, he knows more information in depth to it more than I do, because they usually comes with my permission, but more in depth information towards the landlords, because they came only with his permission to it. So they come around probably every 3 months. They used to come every week. Since 2014, they used to come every week. But now they decline their visits based on the cleaning process that the requirement they have from the state. But it's all Speedway that is currently doing the cleanup on their expense. So that's from my understanding from them. I believe Jason is one of the person that regulates that the cleaning process, and he just stated to me that it used to be a trailer spotted on the gas station itself parking lot. So it used to be parked a trailer for cleaning purposes. But they took away on 2016, but then now they still have, limited visits.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Thank
thank you. If there's any more question, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you so much.
Planner Crowe, do you have something?
Well, it's not atypical for monitoring wells and people to come and inspect from previous leak of underground storage units. So some of them, maybe the frequency has been reduced based on the testing that they found.
Yeah.
And their new gas station wouldn't be,
Well, they're
Subject
going to
to all
have
the
to
new
go through all
standards
the standards and
They're
cleaning.
increasing the size.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, just like they had to do at Dreams, they had to go through all the tanks and all that
That's
other
right.
stuff.
Right.
That's right.
Taking them out and
Then
before they,
EPA
yeah.
concern maybe.
I'm seeing no other members of the public. We'll close the public comment first before we continue our comments, but, okay. Council items update.
Yeah, so we had a little bit of a marathon meeting Monday. The Kroger, we actually had about a dozen people speak under public comment even prior to getting to the public hearing. So there was a lot of discussion about the proposed gas station, circulation, safety issues, all those items. But most of the focus was on the cleanliness or lack of cleanliness and upgrading of the interior of the store.
Right.
And I don't think the applicant did a great job responding to all the questions and concerns. We found out later that there was members of the Kroger store in the audience that didn't come up and respond, didn't want to. So if you add everything together, it was almost a 3.5-hour discussion. And they ended up tabling it or postponing it to a date certain of October 28th to make sure that Kroger representatives could come back and address the store issues as well as some of the other outstanding issues. So no action was taken. Maximilian, the gentleman that wanted to build the duplexes, had about half a dozen residents come and speak against it. And I believe the council was intrigued by the idea, wanted to do the right thing. They were concerned about the shape of the 1-acre lot and that how it was didn't have the right fit for that neighborhood. That's basically it. And I think at that point we were almost 4 hours into the meeting, and Max was just, I think he was a little bewildered. There was so much opposition, and that he didn't really see support from the council, although the council did try hard to not pin him in a corner with a vote. So his project died for lack of support. There was no motion. There was nobody one way or the other. They didn't want to necessarily vote against him. There was some discussion about whether if they voted RT, could he still come back and build single family? But that is an option, but he has to come back in front of council. Whereas if he was going to build single family, he could just come in the next day to the building department and build 2 single family homes. I think a little air was taken out of his sails because he didn't have that passion. He was resigned. He basically gave up when he was asked to explain his project. And he did call yesterday and thank the staff for guiding him. And he just, I think he was a little naive going into this, had a lot of great aspirations. And I said to him, I kind of missed the first Max. I wish you would have had that energy Monday night. I don't know if it would have made a difference, but so that project didn't get acted on. And we did look at the MUCD for that mid-century modern building on 10 Mile. That was enthusiastically received by the council. I think at that point everybody was tired. There was no public hearing and very little questions. The gas station with the liquor store, that it did engender some discussion. It was brought up again why, there was a couple council members that raised the question why we didn't have a moratorium in place. I explained with the city attorney that there was a lot of study and thought that went into adopting the regulations, and it was unanimously approved by the city council for beer, wine, and liquor sales. That happened less than a year ago. And when there was discussion a few months after that about another moratorium, the city attorney said that moratoriums are put in to pause to study an item, but this item had already been studied. The mayor basically said that if you're going to scrutinize every beer, wine, and liquor sales, and you're not in favor of it, just repeal the regulations, because that's what you put in place, and that's what people have been taking advantage of. And what was the last item? Marijuana. The marijuana. So both provisioning center representatives did come. Now we're 5 hours into the meeting at this point. And they did state their case of why the extra hours will help them and how it's hurting them with compatible communities. Council had asked us, Alex had done the research on population size, number of provisioning centers for all the adjoining communities. We did provide that information. Ultimately, it was approved 4-3. So those petitioners will be back next month for their special land use to consider extending their hours of operation, because what was done was the hours of operation in the ordinance was expanded. They were previously approved under the old ordinance, so they have to come back to ask for the additional 3 hours basically on Saturday and Sundays. They said that they actually have to put cones up and signs saying they're closed for business after 6 p.m. because people assume they're coming. Their highest traffic is after hours, when people are out of work and they're trying to come there, and 6 o'clock closure doesn't work for everybody.
Will they have to go back to city council to get those
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why they should
They gotta
do
come
it
to
while
planning
they're
commission,
here.
and I said, yeah. That's why we spend so much time here
Yeah.
talking about the hours of operation, because when they first came through, they said they were comfortable with those hours of operation. And literally the night that it got adopted, I got approached out in the atrium, can we expand those hours? I said, no, it's too late. You should have spoke up earlier. So I had explained to them that they would have to come back and have a zoning amendment and so forth, so. I'm glad that you guys postponed this one gas station. You didn't seem to have the answers that you had asked before, and I don't think we should be granting a blank check.
Yeah.
Nope.
I don't think it's that hard. You saw, I just looked it up, what the hours of operation are. Come up with something reasonable, because if once we establish those hours, they want to change it, they're going to have to come back through the whole process again.
Hayes Market is a problem. Is there a set width for aisles that they have to have?
Hayes Market?
Across the street.
Yeah, the market he owns across the street.
What?
You're talking about parking aisles?
No, the customer service.
Well, that's probably under the building
Building
code and the
department.
health department and all that. Maybe Mr. Griffiths can tell you. That's not something we would
Yeah,
regulate.
there is a minimum. Sometimes that gets aggressively pushed by existing businesses, like,
I can't walk down an aisle in there.
It's probably, I mean,
My
I'm sure there's
my shoulders hit both
there's
aisles.
barrier-free compliance issues.
Yeah.
And I know it has to be 5 feet wide to be able to turn around. Unless there's a short distance.
sometimes you can go down to 3 foot in a commercial building, and 44 inches is kind of the rule of thumb, and 5 foot wheelchair turnaround everywhere.
He wants it his way regardless. It's a shame. I mean, I understand that he will, have to abide by but he's gonna fight it every step of the way. It's just my feeling.
I don't see how you can do it.
Yeah. Well, because he's there and he's
The guy
later.
said he
than
had a 10-year contract.
Yeah, oh, that's
He
enough.
gets past the 10-year contract.
Miscellaneous, next
Yeah,
meetings.
so we have the study meeting on 9/11.
It's a bad day.
Yeah, like Terry was saying, we have the marijuana businesses coming back for hours. I'm blanking on the other ones. Oh, apartment complex is wanting to add a security access gateway at their entrance. So they'll be coming for that. There's one more, and I'm not remembering it. So it'll be a surprise when you get your packets. For the long-range study meeting on the 18th, we're going to be looking at accessory dwelling units. Right now, I'm making basically a framework for it for consideration or discussion, really, and then presentation with that, and then regular meeting at the end of the month for recommendations to City Council.
Do we have any information on Leonard School? And have they put in any plans?
Nothing yet.
Yeah. School board still fighting everything?
Don't get me started.
Yeah.
Well, school was back in session for 2 days this week, and then
half
they're out of
day.
power
No,
today.
half
Was
a
it?
day.
Oh, it was too
Half
hot.
day.
It was too hot,
Yeah.
that's right.
Well, no,
Yeah.
and half of them now don't have power.
Yeah. You tell me about it. That's, I'm
Could
sorry I
all
had
the
to leave,
parents
but
are calm.
my wife was hospitalized last week, and we ended up going to my daughter's house because we didn't have power. And they got to the house, and they said, there's no power. I said, did you go inside? Because I turned off the outside lights. So, and I had to explain to them how to get in the house. Because I had to disconnect the garage door opener too, so,
Meeting
It's okay.
yeah.
adjourned, 8:17.